What's up, guys, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. As per usual, I love spending time with you guys. Today, I want to jump right into our topic, and I'm so excited to talk about this topic because I have not only been through this in a personal experience, but I've had a lot of people come to me. I should just tell you guys what the episode theme is, shouldn't I? But I want to keep you guys on your toes, so keep listening right now. But I've personally been through this myself. I know friends who have gone through this, and I also have had a few of my clients who have gone through this as well too. And this episode theme is going to be about dating in age gaps. Okay. So if you're somebody who maybe you're attracted to older people, older men, older women, and there's maybe some shame and embarrassment that come with that, okay? We know that's one of the biggest things when there's an age gap. It's what are people going to think? How are people going to respond to this? It's the first thing that comes to people's heads, right? Naturally, as human beings, because we biologically care about what people think, especially if it's our close family and friends, right? But even when it comes to being out in public by people that you don't know, I know that's a very common thing that comes up as well too. So I am going to be talking about how you can make it work with the age gap and things that are going to be really important for you to consider and talk about with your partner, and just even to consider on an internal basis for yourself. Because let me tell you, the age gap thing can be so, what's the word I'm looking for? It can feel exciting. Okay, it can feel really exciting, and it can feel like, oh my gosh, like this is something new, if it's something new for you. And while that is all important, it's so important to have an excitement in your relationship. It's really important to have great questions that you're asking yourself, to ask yourself, okay, is this something that's actually temporary, like temporary excitement, or like do I actually really like this person? And also considering, okay, because sometimes when we choose older people, okay, just sometimes, this is not always the case, there might be a wound that we might be trying to fulfill in the wrong way. Okay, I'm just gonna get right into this. Okay. Okay. So the first thing is, when there is an age gap, usually there's not, like, the age gap isn't the actual problem. It can be around like power dynamic stuff, right? And let's talk about, okay, let's talk about like healthy age gap stuff. So I think like when you're older, age gaps don't really hold the same weight of like when you're younger and you're dating somebody older. For example, if you're like 17 and you're dating a 30-year-old, that's a problem, okay? That's not okay. That's not healthy. But as you get older, okay, and you mature and you go through life experiences, say you're 30 and you're dating a 40-year-old, or you're 30 and you're dating a 45-year-old. Heck, maybe you're dating a 50-year-old. I don't know. And no judgment at all. There's reasons why we are attracted to people and why we're drawn to people. And there's no judgment on that, right? The things that you should be asking yourself are really important questions, which I'm going to get to later on in the episode. Okay. So it's not usually the actual age gap though. And when it's an appropriate age gap, it's not usually the age gap, it's the power dynamic, right? Thinking about like what is it that's drawn you to this person, and with the dynamic, is it healthy? Okay. And when I say healthy, what are the roles you guys are playing? Okay. What are you playing in the relationship? What are they playing in the relationship? And what are you guys both representing? Okay. And do you have an equal voice? Do you have choice? Do you have influence in the relationship? Because sometimes when we can date older, and I keep saying dating older because I guess that's the experience that I went through. I've dated younger before, but not with an extreme age gap. I've always dated up in the age gap. Okay. So this is why I guess I should call this episode dating up in the age gap, because it doesn't really apply for if you're dating downwards. Maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe you're gonna resonate with whatever I'm saying. Or maybe you send this to your partner who's older. Anyway, okay. yeah, what influence do you have in the relationship as well, right? I think that's really important to consider, because looking at your patterns in past relationships and asking yourself, okay, and when I say patterns, like unhealthy patterns that you're trying to change, and asking yourself, like, are these patterns repeating again just with a different person? And maybe if they are, sometimes we think, oh, like I'm changing the way that I show up in relationships by choosing a different age gap or choosing a different age category, right? And sometimes that can help us and like even force us in a really good way to shift our patternings. And sometimes we can just be repeating it with the same person, because the same person, but a different person. Because let me tell you, I've dated an older guy before, and he was extremely immature, very emotionally immature, would not take responsibility when there was conflict, right? And even though he was an older gentleman, okay, there still wasn't that emotional understanding, that emotional connection, and the emotional awareness, and like even the emotional integrity to take action on the repair pieces in the relationship, right? And so that's really important, right? That is having influence in your relationship. And you want to be somebody who's able to have influence, who's able to have choice, who's able to be heard by their partner. And that, again, like sometimes sometimes we can think, oh, if we date older, they're just like going to be more mature. And yes, like that can happen, and yes, it's very possible. But then also there is that other end of it, of like somebody could have an older age and still be trapped in their younger behavioral ways, right? And you want to watch out for parent-child dynamics. Okay, so this is what I was kind of talking about when I said asking yourself, is there a wound that you're trying to fulfill and maybe not the healthiest way, right? And so sometimes I've seen this in clients, and again, there's no judgment at all, but sometimes somebody could date someone who's older than them, and they're trying to heal that like broken father wound that they had, or the unhealthy father wound that they have, right? Or they're wanting to be rescued by a man because their father was not present. Or maybe there's like a controlling piece to it because that's what they were used to growing up, right? And so you want to watch out for these different dynamics of how your wounds might be playing out when you're selecting an older age gap. Okay? And you want to also pay attention to like how is your dependency showing up in this relationship, and is it different? Is it different from when you dated somebody who was maybe around the same age as you? And is the dependency a little bit more? Is it a little bit less? Like, how different does it look? Okay. So these are really amazing things that you need to consider when you are dating with an age gap. Okay. And more than anything, with any relationship, regardless of the age gap, okay, there needs to be mutual respect. That's just the bottom line of it. There needs to be mutual respect. And if you don't have that, regardless of the age, then unfortunately that relationship is actually not going to work out right. Okay. One thing I would also invite you to consider is just the different lifestyle patterns and habits that you have compared to this other person. They might be, or you guys both might be in different life stages, which is going to require intentional action, intentional communication, even possible adaptation and adjustments in your relationship. Okay. Like, how are you going to talk about these things with your partner? Especially because sometimes, for example, I'm gonna use this as an example. Maybe like this is a really silly example, but whatever. Maybe in your age category, you're super used to talking a certain way, and your friends getting it, like talking in slang. I know I'm gonna be a Toronto girl for a second, but you hear the Toronto saying or the slang where they're like, yo fam, like how are you fam? Like, what's good fam? And somebody in an older age gap, okay, or an older age category may not understand. They're gonna be like, why are you calling me fam? We are dating, and yes, we're family, but we're not family like that. So there's going to be things that they may not understand, and things like that you won't understand about them too. And like, how are you guys going to actually make this work And it can work, by the way. It's 100% possible. There's so many people who are in huge age gap relationships, and it works out beautifully because they're open to learning from each other. They're also open to maybe not understanding certain things, but accepting their partner for those things, like the quirky things, like the slang that they use, right? They may not understand it, but they're like, oh my God, I think that's so cute. And maybe they want to understand it. And then it becomes like a joke. Maybe they start to imitate you with your slang. I don't know why I'm using slang as examples. The first thing that came to my head. But maybe they're using slang as an example, as like a way to like playfully poke fun at you. You know what I mean? And you guys laugh about it together, and vice versa. Maybe they have different quirks that you're just like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then you guys laugh about it together, right? And so this is a part of being in different stages in your life when you're dating with an age gap, right? And not only just coming from different eras, but one partner may be focused on career building and the other person may be thinking about retirement, marriage, children, or just different lifestyle and health style changes, right? And so I truly believe, okay, and this is not applicable to all relationships, but I think the most strongest relationships that actually work out, like their lifestyle is so important to match their partner's lifestyle or to even inspire their partner. Maybe it's a lifestyle that their partner wants and they're working towards that. Like they want the same things in lifestyle. And of course, for example, like I dated this guy, the same one that I was talking about, and I want kids. And I remember this is something that I was considering when I was speaking to him because I realized, okay, I had developed feelings for him and I had told him. And at first he was like, I really like you too, but like he already had kids and he's already have kids. I'm done with that phase in my life. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like I really wanted kids, but I also really wanted to explore the relationship and see where it went. And so I did that. It didn't last very long, but it was a very good experience for me because I wouldn't be able to be talking about this right now with you if I didn't go through that. And so you really have to just get honest with yourself about those things. And if you guys are in different stages of your life, is there room for adaptation and adjustment? Okay. And that's going to be really important. And it's going to determine the longevity of your relationship. Because if there's no room for adaptation and consideration of the other person's desires and needs in the relationship, and no consideration for understanding someone's emotional needs and also just what they want from a relationship, whether if that's to create a family, to get married, whatever it is that going to be a make or break, right? And that's why it's so important to discuss this from the get-go, because you just don't want to be like so far in and then feel, oh shit, like I'm sacrificing so much for this person, like not having kids. And now, like, I'm just so in love with him. I'm so deep into this that I feel like I can't leave, right? And you don't want to put yourself in that position. If that happens, that's okay. If you're there right now, that's okay. I think it's just really important to ask yourself if you're able to continue to sacrifice that and if you're okay with leaving this world not having fulfilled that deep desire in your heart. Okay. And I would invite you, I think, again, when there's love involved, it can be really challenging. And we know that love alone may not always bridge differences in timelines and priorities. And it also could. It could. Again, it's not always necessarily about the age gap between you guys, but it really is about how you guys communicate, how you guys repair, how you guys are considering each other, how you guys are taking time to understand each other's differences, right? And again, this goes for all relationships, not just age gap relationships. Okay. A lot of successful couples, they revisit these conversations as their relationship continues and as life continues because they're evolving as human beings, right? And so it's really important, if you want this to work, You have to, again, you guys know I'm the fucking communication queen, but you have to be revisiting it and noticing when things are shifting in lifestyle and you guys haven't spoken about it, and being on top of it and being like, okay, we gotta talk about this. We gotta have a plan, and we have to really figure out like how we're gonna move forward so that we're both feeling loved, understood, and cared for in the relationship, right? Okay. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, especially if you have a big age gap, like people are going to talk shit. They just are, okay? It happens all the time. I remember when I was dating that guy, he was actually the one who was like super embarrassed and ashamed. He was like, oh, not of me at all, but like he was worried about what other people were going to think of him. He was worried about what other people were going to think of him when they saw him with me. Now, given, and I say this with so much love and without airing out his business, like there was a lot of insecurity pieces on his end around that, right? Just in general, not even just like in the relationship. And I just remember him asking me, saying, oh, so you're going to feel comfortable with just like holding my hand as we like walk down the street? And I'm like, yeah, like I don't care. Obviously people are going to stare or they might say something, and yeah, it might be uncomfortable at first. And like also these people who are staring and who might say something, like why the fuck do they care? This is my thing. When I hear people making comments about like age gaps, especially if it's like an appropriate age gap, and when I say that, I'm like, you're a grown adult, okay, and maybe you're dating somebody who's a growner adult. It's like, why are we judging people for them choosing somebody who's older than them when this person could be so amazing? And why does their age play a role in it? Yes, their age can play a role in it if there's, again, like lifestyle, and if somebody wants kids and another person doesn't want kids, right? Yeah, like that could be something, that could be like make or break, right? But I often see people making just like snooty comments around, oh my God, like she's dating somebody who's older than her. And oh my God, it's like a 10-year age gap. And it's, who the fuck cares? Like, why do you care? Genuinely, why do you care? Why does it bother you so much? Just let people be happy. Let people date who they want to, especially if they're in like a healthy relationship that they're like happy in. It's different if somebody is like being abusive or is being controlling and all of those things, right? But if two people are genuinely happy together and they have the age gap difference, like who fucking cares? That just should be a beautiful example of like how love has no bounds. And to me, that fills my heart up with so much love, knowing that. So expect people to have opinions about your relationship. And the most important thing, if you guys want this to last and you want it to be a forever thing or a long-term thing, you have to be on a united front together, okay? One person cannot be feeling like, you can feel this, but like when you're in public with people and they're like making these comments, or even if they're not even making it in public and they're just telling you on the side, like privately, you have to stand so firm in your relationship, because at the end of the day, just because there is an age gap, like it doesn't mean that like your relationship is less important, or that you should have less loyalty because your family and friends are telling you that this is wrong. Okay? Because truly, nobody knows your relationship like you do. Nobody knows your partner like you do. Okay, they might see a different side of your partner because, yeah, like maybe your partner doesn't share all sides of themselves when they're around your family or friends, or around their family or friends. Obviously, I can just tell you from my own experience, there's past partners that I have had and people have had judgments on them, and I'm like, okay, you don't really know them. Like, you don't know them on an intimate level like I do, right? And oftentimes, like, we know our partners better than anybody else because we're their partners. We're with them all the time. They're telling us their vulnerabilities and all of those things. Like, we know sides of them that other people don't know, and that other people genuinely just don't need to know, honestly. Okay, I'm about to take a sip of my tea because your girl's throat is so dry. Okay. So make sure that you have a united approach, and you guys should be talking about your boundaries on external criticism as well. Okay. What will that look like? Okay, so maybe you guys talk about, okay, if somebody makes a comment about our age gap, what are we saying back to them? Are we listening to them? Are we engaging in it? The answer is absolutely fucking not. Okay. What you can say, and I love giving my clients one-liners when there's hard things that come up, is I'm actually not available. I'm not available for this conversation. My relationship is not up for criticism. My relationship is not up for being dissected. This is between my partner, and I'd appreciate it if you stop making those comments. Otherwise, I'm going to have to end the conversation. And they might get upset about that, and that's really fucking okay, because truly, it is not anyone's business. Okay. And again, if somebody's telling you something out of concern where they feel like you're being abused or emotionally controlled or neglected or anything that's harming, again, you know what's happening in your relationship. And also too, it's like, I also think when we're in those situations, we recognize it when we're supposed to recognize it, and we leave when we're supposed to leave it. Okay. Somebody continuing to tell us that we shouldn't do this or should do that, should stay with someone, should not stay with someone. People have to leave relationships on their own terms. Okay. But truly, you guys have to come up with a plan with each other and stay loyal to that, because if one partner is standing up and advocating and standing their ground and the other partner is caving, engaging in the conversations with other people, and it's just, oh yeah, maybe you're right. No. Okay. Because if people can feel that there is even just a little teeny bit of a cracked door open to enter your relationship and try and influence how you should be living your love life. So yeah, don't let anybody fuck with your relationship, even if you have an age gap. Okay. And especially if you really know truly in your heart that this is the person that you love and want to be with, you guys have to be united. You have to have a united stand together. And I know it can be hard. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel these feelings of discomfort, or maybe there is shame and embarrassment that still does come up, right? Because other people are making you feel like that. You might not feel like that if other people were like, hey, we're so excited for you, like, and welcome the relationship with loving arms, right? And so I think it's so crucial, so crucial for you to be grounded in your relationship and have these conversations with your partner when it comes up of, hey, I am feeling this embarrassment, I am feeling this shame, and like, how can we work through this together? How can we reassure each other instead of seeking that validation outside of the relationship, right? And how can you reassure yourself of, like I said, as humans, biologically, we are wired to care about what other people think, right? But can we lessen that? We can. Right? And can we practice the mindset of, okay, maybe I feel a little bit of embarrassment or shame, but like, I don't give a fuck because I'm following my heart, and how courageous and brave is that? And this is another perspective I want to give you is, if you didn't follow your heart on this, truly, if your heart was in it, and if you didn't follow your heart on this, like, what if you had these what ifs after and these regrets around not pursuing this and not exploring it? Because what if this person is the love of your life? What if you guys create a beautiful life together? And then you were stripped of that because you were listening to what other people think and what other people are trying to control about you in your love life. And that's not fair to you. That's not fair to the other person. The best thing that you can do is stay true to your heart while maintaining your boundaries, while understanding what's best for you, while also asking yourself really important questions so that you can make an informed choice. And when I say an informed choice, I'm not necessarily always referring to these logical decision makings. Yes, we need that as well too. And as well, informed choices also come from our intuition. And we know that our intuition, it ain't logical. It just ain't logical. Okay. We be making decisions that don't make any fucking sense, but then be opening up all these fucking different timelines for ourselves. Okay. And we love that. And so, can you trust yourself in this? Even if you're not sure about it, can you trust yourself to explore it and ask the right questions and pick up on the body's, like how your body's responding in the relationship, and also how your partner is nurturing you throughout this process? Because when there is an age gap, it's inevitable for these feelings to come up. It's just inevitable for these things to come up. And the way that you work through it with your partner is 1000% going to be the determining factor of the longevity of the relationship. And not only the longevity of it, but the actual quality of the relationship. Because we can have a relationship that lasts for however long, but is the quality there, right? And again, this is where the communication comes in, the repair, the action, really the nurturing of each other throughout this process of really understanding. And one thing that I notice is there's always one partner who is less embarrassed or ashamed about it, and the other person who's gung-ho. And I think it's so crucial for both of you guys to be strong in this sense. That doesn't mean that those feelings don't come up. Okay. Like I said many times, that it's normal for that. Okay. But you get to choose how you're going to respond to those feelings. You get to choose the relationship that you're going to build to those feelings, and the relationship that you're going to build with each other as well too. So have a plan when people are coming at you, whether you guys are together and people are coming at you together, or if you're being told this privately. Okay? Because you don't owe anybody shit. You literally don't owe anyone shit. So go be in love with whoever you want to be in love with. Just make sure that you're being treated properly and that you're being loved and nurtured and vice versa. Okay? Because that's literally all that matters. Literally, it's all that matters. And all the other things, especially if you're doing the repair piece, you're being respected, and you guys are both clear and considering of each other's lifestyle and the things that you both want, it's inevitable for your relationship to work. Okay? And I know I'm making it sound really easy. It might not be as easy as I'm making it sound, but with the effort, it's so worth it with anything in life. Like when you put in the effort and you just know that it's just your person and you love them for unconditionally, it's so worth it. So don't let the age gap discourage you. It's really just about everything that I've explained in this episode. So, my loves, I just wanted to share this piece with you because, like I said, I've gone through this. Honestly, I've gone through this twice in my life where I've had an older partner. So the one that I was sharing, in this episode, he was, not necessarily the most emotionally mature person. But then also, I dated somebody who was 10 or 11 years older than I was when I was like 24. I think he was 34. And honestly, that was the best relationship that I ever had. The communication was great. We talked about really hard things. We worked on repair pieces. There was a lot of conflict that came up, but we really worked through it. And we would always end the night just laughing on the phone, talking till 2 a.m. in the morning. So again, I've experienced both sides of it where it really can work, and the other side where it's okay. Lifestyle is not in alignment. Emotional maturity is not in alignment. Just everything was not in alignment. And with the other relationship, there was a lot of things that were in alignment. Actually, in that relationship, there was pieces of me where I was like, I needed to step it up. And I was at such a different part of my journey then. But yeah, it was the most beautiful relationship that I had. And I think because of his life experiences, because he was older and he was very emotionally mature. and wasn't afraid to talk about emotions, wasn't afraid to receive my emotions. And that felt really, really comforting and safe for me. And it made me want to be a better person in the relationship and for myself and for him and for our future. Right. And even though it didn't work out, it taught me so much about what I really wanted, right? So that's what I'm saying. Go explore the big age gap relationship and learn. If it doesn't work out, you have something to learn and take from it. Okay. Okay. My love, if you are experiencing this and you're feeling lots of shame and embarrassment, and there's just so much conflict that you just don't even know how to address it, you don't know how to make your partner even understand from a way that you need them to because of the age gap, because they were in a different era, they were born in a different era, they may not understand certain things, right? I want to invite you to reach out, and I would love to hop on a one-on-one connection call with you. And let's explore how we can work together and completely change your intimacy, love life, relationship, confidence by working together and just having somebody to fully receive you for who you are, all your emotions, the big, the small. I'm here for it all. Also, I have a freebie. I recently recorded a new series. It's free. Confidence in the Bedroom. It's one of the best things that I've ever recorded. I say this every time because I truly am just so in love with this series. And I would love for you to have it. So you can grab the Confidence in the Bedroom series in the show notes or in the description, wherever you're watching this. I will catch you on the next episode. If you know somebody who could benefit from this episode, go ahead and send it their way. I love you so much, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye, my love.